Hello, and welcome to Maidens of the Spear, where we talk about the Wheel of Time, and we have a really good time.
A really
And
good time.
Today we have a special little treat because Mary Lou and I, of course, have read all the books multiple times, but Vic, our good friend Vic Michaelis, improviser extraordinaire, comedian,
Thank you so much.
Hilaire, is here today. And Vic, have you read the Wheel of Time?
So
I know you've purchased The Eye of the World.
I have purchased Eye of the World. I'm about 4 chapters in. I put it down to finish Dune because the movie is coming out, and
fair.
I'm like, so I'm in book 2 of Dune right now. So I am finishing
Love
that
book
up
2 of
before I come back to Wheel of Time. But I do audiobooks as I'm driving, so I go very quickly. So I will be picking this up sooner rather than later because I want to at least try and get through the first book before the series comes out in November.
Oh, so exciting. So what's the last thing you remember from chapter 4?
I'm gonna have to go back and reread. I think when I start over, because I also my brain is a little broken, so I am now like very in the Dune universe. So I think I'm gonna have to go start back over because I really am not very far in. I'd say I'm probably like 60-70 pages in right now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start back over and
you might have just met Tom Marilyn.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone's getting ready for Beltane, for Winter Night. They're all in the town of Emond's Field.
So nothing truly big or shocking has happened?
Honestly, everything is sounding pretty great. I know that, there's some turmoil up top, but as of right now, like, we're still in some exposition. We're still meeting people. We're still setting up the scene.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, we are going to play you this trailer, and Mary Lou and I, and anybody in the chat, will not be spoiling anything for you, Vic. But we're going to show you the trailer. We're going to play it through once, and we want to get your reactions afterwards, and just questions, reactions, theories, any thoughts, prompts.
I can't wait.
Mary Lou, should we leave ourselves in sight, or just make it a
leave us.
Ready, Vic?
Yeah.
Here we go.
I am Moiraine Sedai. 20 years ago, I learned a secret. A vision of a baby being born. A baby who could change the world. In the last age, the Dark One was trapped by the last dragon at the cost of almost everything. 20 years ago, the last dragon was reborn. We don't know where or to whom. What I do know is that my mission is to find them. But we're running out of time. The Dark One is waking. His whispers are already in the backs of our minds. If I do not succeed, the Earth itself will burn, and the whole world will turn to darkness. There will be one who can stand against him. The dragon has been born again. Who is the dragon reborn?
Okay, Vic. What do you think?
What do you think?
I'm so excited and attracted to that worm guy. I can't wait.
To which guy?
The worm. With the
Murdral.
face.
The Murdral. The Murdral.
Yeah, I saw your face when he made his little kissy face at you. You were like,
yes, please. Also, too, like, I would do anything for Rosamund Pike.
Right?
Like, oh, God, she's perfection. Look at her. Oh, but that face.
There has been this is not a spoiler. Do you mind if I tell you the name of this creature?
Yes, please.
This is a Murdral. A fade. And there has been a lovely discourse on Twitter of Time where it started where someone was like, I showed someone, this is Rachel Sedai, great Aja sitter. I showed someone a picture of the Murdral from the show, and they were like, damn, it's got those DSLs.
Oh my God.
So you're not the first to be
there has been a lot of
strangely attracted
You
to the
gotta
Murdral.
love sort of just like
You're in good company.
Genderless, ageless, sort of
eyeless
mouth of teeth.
Just a mouth of teeth. That's really all. Really
all.
Yeah.
It does definitely has that like dune sandworm aesthetic.
Yes,
definitely
and I think
has a
maybe
dune.
why.
Yeah.
But you're not wrong.
Anything else jump out at you? What?
Those the bodies, or like it was those like cadavers, sort of in a shape. It looked almost like an R. Oh yeah.
Get back to it. Yeah.
Kidney shape.
There it is.
Kidney. It's going to be kidney focused.
It's a kidney focused.
Kidney focused show. Yeah, I feel like there's not even anything for us to spoil for you. You're nailing it all.
Are those lambs?
Those are sheep.
Those are lambs. Yeah.
Okay, that seems dripping in some sort of symbolism. And I can't wait to find out what it is a symbol of. I think is going to be very interesting to find out.
Yeah.
So Rosman's looking for the dragon. Who's the dragon?
I wish she was looking for me.
Yeah, seriously, right?
I know, right?
Come on, look at
her face.
Oh
my favorite shot of her face is when she's in the sunlight looking around through the town.
She's looking.
Baby who could change the world. In the last age, the Dark One was trapped by the last dragon at the cost of almost everything. 20 years ago, the last dragon was reborn.
This one. Yeah. Look at her face.
Yeah.
It's like perfect.
Flawless. Absolutely flawless. The dragon has to be that guy that we've met, right? At the beginning of the first book.
Which guy that we've met?
The guy that we're following.
It's possible.
Could be.
I think it is. Because otherwise, why? Or is this going to be one of those like Lord of the Rings type books where he's going to die, or not Lord of the Rings, like Game of Thrones books where he dies like immediately? No spoilers for Game of Thrones. Everybody dies immediately.
If you're worried about Game of Thrones spoilers, I don't even know how to help you.
Yeah, honestly, get over it. Get over it.
So we got some boys.
Here's some boys. This is Rand, Perrin, and Matt.
That's Rand, Perrin, and Matt. Yeah. I believe you've met them.
Yeah.
So we're in Emmons Field.
Is that where? So is this series taking place over the first book, essentially, or
this series is mostly the first book with some elements of books 2 and 3 brought in?
Gotcha.
The plan is to condense the 14-book series into 8 seasons of television.
Ooh, baby! So this is like this is an epic journey that we're going on.
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah.
Do we think that they're going to MCU it in some way, and they're going to sort of like bring in other fantasy books that people like?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I would be very upset if they did.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be furious.
But I
would do violence.
We're not going to like see Gandalf show up somewhere.
Nope.
Not
Gandalf.
if they want to live. Not if they want to live.
I mean, we do get,
I think it'd be fun.
Some wise old wizard type characters for sure.
Definitely.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Who is that guy again?
This is
the guy
Rand.
who lit the candle? Okay.
That's Rand.
Thor, yeah.
Okay, I think one of them is the dragon. I think Rosamund Pike is the dragon.
Rosamund Pike's the dragon.
Yeah.
Could be.
I think that it's going to be like a big misdirect, and Rosamund Pike is going to be the dragon.
Ooh.
Is my thought. Or maybe the lambs.
Maybe the lambs are the dragon.
The lambs are
so are you gonna watch this show?
Yeah, absolutely. I really want to try and get through the first book before I start the series, so I might start a little bit behind. But again, like I think it's like 28 hours or something like that.
It's long.
It's a long one.
But that one, like I can get through that in like 3 days.
For sure.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. I'll do that on a day I'm in the car, or a day I'm I got some cleaning to do.
I have some questions for you.
Please.
There have been many debates within the Wheel of Time fandom over the aesthetic of the show. But of course, everyone who's a fan is like coming into it with all these things they've imagined in their head for, in some cases, decades. And then they see it brought to life and it looks different. So I'm just wondering for you, as someone who works in television, you're an actress, and someone who enjoys fantasy but hasn't read these books, how do you feel about the vibe of the show, just like aesthetically?
I love it. I think it looks so cool. Like I don't know. Like, I know I've mentioned Gandalf and him popping up, but it does have like a very fun, like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings feel to it, which I think if you're trying to get people that know nothing and are going to have to like really pay attention to be brought into a world, I think connecting it to something that feels familiar fantasy wise, like look wise, and looks really clean like this, I think is like a good way to have people be like, oh yeah, it's fun to look at it. Like everything looks good. Everything looks similar to stories that I already have bought into and like, so it feels like, I don't know, to me, I'd be like, yeah, it feels like a way to do it. What are the complaints? Like, what do people not want about it?
So definitely like with the first trailer that came out, I haven't heard it so much of this one, but when people started first seeing the clips, a lot of the, so first I do want to be clear, a lot of the fan base loves it. It's not like a general complaint. The people who do complain are like, it looks like YA, it looks like a CW.
It's very bright.
Show.
So if you watch it in comparison with Game of Thrones and the dragon, or what's the House of Dragons trailer also came out at a similar time, and it was very like the filters were very blue, very gray, very dark, and misty, right? And in comparison, the Wheel of Time material has been much more bright and colorful and light.
Oh,
and
fascinating. So a little more like the yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, I could see that, but honestly, like I think it's a cool take. Like I like it. I think it like does give it its own thing, and I don't think it's so bright that it looks like poppy or too popcorny, you know what I mean? Like I really do think it looks very cool. Like I don't know, the trailer makes me excited for the show.
Good.
Great.
Yeah, and
that's how I feel. I think it's really interesting that we've just seen fantasy for the last 10 years, as Game of Thrones has been our main pop culture reference to fantasy, right? Because Lord of the Rings is over a decade old.
Yeah, and I guess Harry Potter is a very different world, even though because it's like so connected to the real world.
Yeah,
and Harry Potter is like YA. You know, it's a kid.
Right. But Lord of the Rings was bright and colorful.
It was.
But
won a bunch
since
of Oscars
then,
too.
Yeah. So it's this channel's opinion that the color and the light is like very interesting and cool, but it's definitely a departure from what we've experienced fantasy as in the last decade or so.
I'll have to go rewatch the first trailer and I'll get back to you guys. But for this,
I could show it to you right now if you wanted.
Yeah, I'll take a peek at it. This one genuinely doesn't feel like that to me.
Yeah.
So let's watch the original teaser here.
Be strong. The wheel of time turns, and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend. The power inside you. All over the world, there are different names for it. But it's one thing. One power. And women who can touch it. We protect the world.
No matter what happens, what pain we face, what heartbreak, the wheel keeps turning. The Dark One is coming for your friends. The last battle is coming. The only thing that matters is what you do.
Whatever happens now, there's no turning back.
So freaking cool.
Right?
My theory too is like I think anytime people can see this, because the second trailer essentially cuts out any shots of CGI. And I do think when people can see CGI, they're often like, oh, like they think of like, I don't know. It's always so silly. It's like they're literally building a fantasy world. Like they're building entire cities and things like that. It's so silly when people are like, it's not real. It's like, yeah, it's not real. Like it's building this like cool world.
What's crazy about this show, I think you're 100% right. What's
I agree.
crazy about this show that like we have learned as more, and there's like a lot more promotional clips that I don't want to show you because I do think they're too spoilery, but so much of this is real and practical.
They
Like
built, so this town that's in the background
Whoa.
here, that is a whole town, a neighborhood that they built in the wilderness of Prague, in Prague, and
for one episode.
for one episode, essentially.
Yeah, so the budget is like $10 million per
the first
episode is
Per
like
episode.
the low end of the estimate right now.
Whoa, that's unreal. Also, too, it's cool because like some of the stuff that I do know, they're called the Aes Sedai's, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's cool getting to like, to me too, it's like the show is so based on, it's so color based too. It's like to
Correct.
not have clear color representation of these different, are they called factions? Like what would be the
Aja.
Aja? To not have clear Aja representation would be a disservice to the show, I think, right? Because
Totally.
like
Mhm.
maybe it's not how you pictured it in your head. Maybe it doesn't look like what we in our day-to-day would perceive to be like real world or real life, but there's also not magic or, you know, like
Yeah.
factions like that in our real life. So of course it's going to look a little bit different. I think it's a cool, bold take on it. I'm excited to see what it looks like.
So let's
too.
hear as someone who's not totally coming into this raw. Well, so first I just want to say I showed this to my little brother and I showed it to my girlfriend's girlfriend, neither of whom had seen the show or had read the books or knew anything about it when they watched the trailer, and they both came away from the first teaser being like, it feels cheesy to me. They
I showed
definitely
it
were
to,
like,
and I showed it to my friends who have not read the series, just know that I love it. And they didn't say that it looked cheesy, but they did assume it was YA.
yeah.
Oh, interesting. I think having seen the second trailer first helped me ground it in my head a little bit more. So it'll be interesting. I don't ever mind like my mythical like fantasy series looking like fantasy.
Sure. I think a lot of it was the
it'll be
framing
interesting.
of the first teaser. The first teaser was very much like mentor talking to young person, like, hey,
Right.
women do magic and we protect the world. And it's like a much more classic like YA framing that they gave it in that teaser, I think is
And
a
I
lot
was
of it.
noticing this time there's like a lot of shots of like beautiful young people smiling,
Yeah,
Yes.
which feels a little CW now that I like
definitely.
can
But the second
recognize
teaser
it.
is much darker.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Vic, I'm gonna let you go soon, but first, I do want to hear like 2 predictions, 3, however many you have.
Rosamund Pike, I think, is a blue Aja, is my first prediction.
Okay.
Because she's wearing a lot of blue. So that is my guess. And she summons lightning, was
She
my
Right.
other clue.
Yeah, good. That was a good clue.
Thank
Good
you.
clue.
I think Rosamund Pike is going to be a bad guy.
Okay. Interesting prediction.
Is my thought on it. I like.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be a thing, and then I think our dragon is going to be the faceless worm guy.
The faceless worm guy. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the star.
I think he might be the dragon.
The dragon rewormed.
I wonder if the dragon is actually going to be in all of us.
The dragon. Oh, it's like a kung fu.
The dragon
panda
was the friends we
kinda
made along the
thing.
way.
Yeah.
There's no secret ingredient to the dragon. Just
Yeah. Or I wonder, oh, here's what I think is the dragon has died already. There is no dragon.
interesting.
There's no dragon left.
Well, we don't want to let you know how close you may or may not be. But,
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you.
Vic, thank you
It
so
means I
much
got
for
it.
doing
You
this
nailed
with
it.
us. I don't want to end with showing that person. See these beautiful mountains. The locations
Gorgeous
they found for
mountains.
the show are so pretty.
Beautiful mountains.
Thank you so much for giving us your thoughts. And
Thank you,
Thank you
Vic.
for having me, friends.
we're gonna check in with Vic occasionally during the course of the show too to get her thoughts. By that
Absolutely.
time, you'll have been someone who's read The Eye of the World, but not someone who's probably read the rest of the series. So I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. But this has been Maidens of the Spear, where we talk about the Wheel of Time, and we have a really good time.
Yeah.
We
Thank you
had a
for-
really good time. Hope you had a really good
Yeah.
time, and we'll see
Absolutely.
you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Next time.